Welcome to the Two Posh Podcast.
I am Gabrielle. I am a former New York Mafia princess, originally from Austria. I am the mother of 3 and the owner of Two Posh Boutique. And here with my beautiful co-host, Marcella, my daughter.
Hello, I'm Marcella. I'm a dancer, choreographer, model, and designer for Two Posh. And I say whatever the I want.
Hi, my name is Cruz. I am a stylist. I also own the Society Salon in the Design District, and I am a short little Mexican with a big personality.
I am Polly. I am a certified sexual health consultant and educator, former professional dominatrix, currently working at the largest adult novelty store in the Texas Panhandle.
What will they say next? Welcome to the Two Posh Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome, Hope Beel, this amazing creature that is with us today. Part 1 was all about her fitness and fame and all the amazing things that she has done.
How she got there.
And you should definitely listen to that show. And we want to once again thank every listener that listens to us and downloads and watches on YouTube. And we have big plans this year with the show and just keep growing. And Michael, the guy who owns this studio where we record, Michael Savala with MC Now, that's his show. You need to follow him. They are the most amazing team to help us from day one, and I cannot ever thank them enough and tell them how easy they make the process. It's like nothing is ever a problem. They respond in a moment's notice, and that's just wonderful. They've become our family for sure.
So if you want to start a podcast,
Yes.
This is the place to do it.
the place to go.
Yes. So
And the facility is very nice.
Yeah.
very nice.
Very nice.
Mhm. We have professional cameras now and professional lighting. Now we just need some filters. That's
So catch us on YouTube.
Yes. Hope, we got to know you with all the amazingness that you do, the traveling, the modeling, the fitness, the everything. But I know that you grew up in a very small town and you're self-made, and I know you were super close to your mom. Tell us a little bit about
How you grew up.
how you grew up.
What made you
and,
Hope?
I wanted
Start from the beginning.
Yeah.
start from the beginning, but most importantly, when we ask these kind of tough questions, like when people have losses, I feel like to tell your story is because it holds the power to heal someone else and to help other people,
And yourself as well, I feel.
yourself as
Yeah.
well. And I feel that God comforts us in our troubles so that we can comfort others. And the hurt that you've been through helps others. And lately, we have had several people that have lost their moms, and it is very hard. Like Jolie had 2 of her best friends lost their mom in the last year and a half, just recently last week. Gino's ex-girlfriend, she lost her mom a couple of weeks ago, and I know that my own mom always says you have one mom and one dad.
Yeah.
So regardless of other people, that is like that's where you're connected. That's all you knew ever. So it is so hard, but when you go through that, you can bring someone healing when you speak about it. And I know Cruz himself he lost.
I mean, it all kind of came around, I lost my wife, and I was asked to come and tell my story, and I did, and, it was a really popular episode, and it's still number 6.
Yes.
And, here I am now, co-hosting this amazing podcast, and it really helped me a lot. And I just did it. I didn't even have any expectations, and talking about it really helped me, and it's still... it's still hard for me. Her birthday just passed, and it's very emotional. Even talking about it right now, I still kind of feel it. But I mean, it's something hard. But I feel that when you do it and you let it out, it just helps.
And you can kind of dedicate it to them.
to them as well.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So-
it's like they say your brokenness can put someone else together. It's just so
I like
inter-
that.
It's
That
very,
is a
very
good- Yeah,
interesting.
that's great.
And it's healing for yourself. Like we've had that a lot.
Mhm.
And Cruz was probably the one that said it the best, like how it helped him. He didn't even expect anything from it.
Yeah.
But tell us about it. I know you were super close with her, but tell us a little bit about your growing up and everything.
Yeah. So small town, Texarkana, Texas, and my mom married. So my dad was never in my life, my biological father. It was just me and my mom until I was 3, and she married a new man and then had my 2 brothers. So that was our happy little family. She was married, then I had my 2 brothers, so there's us 3, and we had a great life. Everything was great. And then a lot of like hardships came in, alcoholism, because small towns, that's like really common. And my mom and Britt, which is his name, they got a divorce. So my whole life I thought that Britt was my father. And
you never knew.
I never knew. No one told me. I thought he was my dad, right? Because
Oh.
I was 3 when they got married. So you don't really remember those
Right.
things. And we had a great life. Everything was so wonderful. It was all family oriented. My mom was just such a sweet soul. And when they got a divorce,
How long were they married?
they
How
were
old
married
you?
7 years. So I guess I was like 13 at the time. I can't do the math. 3 plus
10.
7, 10.
10.
10, yes. Oh, when I was 13 is when I was told that my cousin told me that Britt wasn't my dad.
So how was
Wow.
that?
Ah, yeah.
Wow.
It was a
my
little,
God.
I mean, at that
That's-
age, I'm like a dramatic teenager. And we went from a good life, like a cute little home, to like living in poverty because my mom was on her own and she didn't really have a job at the time. So she was a cook at like a local restaurant. That was her job. And she didn't make a lot of money. So she was taking care of basically 3 kids, and he had custody. I mean, she had full custody, but we would go see Britt on the weekends, So we lived in a trailer park, and that's when like things started to change. And of course, my mom started drinking a lot of alcohol. So did Britt. They both became alcoholics.
Both did.
Both did. So it was
Separately.
separately, yes. And so I saw a lot of bad, and because when you go from a good, happy home to not one,
Mhm.
he was abusive. He abused my mother. I saw that.
Was this before? Or?
This was before they got divorced. So it was a lot of like hardship
Mhm.
and like seeing my mom change. That was hard for me because then
change how?
change in terms of like becoming an alcoholic, and then also finding out that Britt wasn't my real father. So I had I was
Yeah.
upset with him
So
about things.
How did that come about? I mean, your cousin.
I think
comes
I
over-
can't even.
That's like,
I don't
wow.
vividly remember. I
No?
just remember she was like, "Well, he's not your dad," and I was like, "What?"
And how did they know and you didn't?
I'm
Yeah.
sure you know how small town
yeah.
people they all
Uh,
talk. It was like they all talk.
Yeah.
She probably heard it from someone, and she was like my older cousin, so she babysat me a lot, and so she would,
And did she say that out of spite or
probably.
out
I
of,
think I was
like-
mad at him or something. Who knows? And she'd hold me, and I was like, "Oh,
But out of spite for him, not for you, or like-
probably." Who knows? You never know with these young
Remember.
kids these days, right? But I do remember I was in track, and I'll never forget this. And I was like, again, how I am now, all in, and I was working really hard. And it was one of my first track meets. And I was at his house for the weekend. And again, they both had become alcoholics. And I don't know what I did. Maybe I had an attitude or something. And he was like, "Okay, you can't go." And I remember crying all night long. He wasn't going to let me go to my track meet. And after that, I never went
mad.
back to his house again. And I don't know if there's like some unspoken. I'm one of those people, like I think like trauma has made me forget things. So I don't know if there was more to the story, but like that's what I remember.
Mhm.
And so we separated our lives, and that's when my mom was really hitting it hard. And so he took custody of my brothers. So they were with him and I was with her because she's my mom. So
And how
we-
did you feel about that? I mean,
I
did
think
you
that was
feel
hard for me.
separated, or did you
I-
feel like
I think I just was always, my mom's girl, because she was like my best friend. We did everything together, like had a great relationship, talked to her every single day. And like, even though we didn't have a lot,
Mhm.
again, I always had high hopes for myself. And I think it has something to do with her because she taught me that like confidence and like you can have more for yourself. And she was just a genuine soul, like alcoholic or not. But,
Yeah.
Right.
you know, we lived paycheck to paycheck. I remember literally going to the gas station every single morning and her putting $5 in gas every day. And
Oh, no way.
yeah, we ate Burger King every night, or she worked at the restaurant and she would steal food from the restaurant to feed us. Literally. So I think a lot of people don't know this about me, but like I literally lived in, we never had a good car. It was always like a car with an oil leak or like bum tires. And my mom was so independent and like never asked for help. That's another thing that I really appreciated about her. Like we would be broken down on the side of the road and she'd be underneath the car and she's stunning. She's like this gorgeous blonde, great body, you know, just, and people would try to stop and help us. She's like, nope, I'm good. I'm good. And I'm like, Mom, let them help you. And she's like, nope, I'm good. I'm good. I can do it myself. You know, she did everything herself. And that's just like, we got by. We lived, I mean, we were fine. We got by. But I mean, I remember at school, like in high school, I never wanted people to know that I was poor. And so
I hear that so often.
it was something about it. I didn't want, I didn't portray myself that way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that person because in my heart, I knew I wasn't, you know, that didn't define me, how much money I had. Because I always dressed different and cool and I was just friendly. I was so friendly to everyone because my mom taught me that way. I'm just a nice person. I loved everyone. I was homecoming queen, you know, like,
No way.
yeah, no
Wow.
one knew that I like had trouble at home. And so like if people would bring me home, I would make them drop me off at the street and I would walk home. I would never let anyone drive into the trailer home. Now looking back, like I wish it was different, but you know, I was young, so I didn't know.
I mean, I think they all do. I remember, you know, not even having to do with the car, but my mom I would make her drop me off.
Yeah, you're like, don't pull up
Yeah.
close. Y'all, but my mom had an oil leak, so when she would stop, smoke would come out the
Oh
car.
my God.
So I was so embarrassed. I'm like, do not pull over the thing. And, you know, she was going through a hard time. Like, she was raising me and, like, trying to pay her bills on, like, no money. So, like, there were times, like, after cheerleading practice, she would be the last one to pick me up, and I would be mad at her, like, okay, hello, are you coming? I didn't have a cell phone. Like, everyone had phones in high school. Everyone had cars in high school. I didn't. But I had a lot of great people in my life to help me, you know?
Yeah.
But I think that made us stronger and made, like, our relationship stronger. And again, like, I had high hopes for myself, so I applied for a million scholarships. I got a lot of scholarships, got into UNT. And I knew that there was something more for my life. I was like, I'm going to college.
Had you been to Dallas before?
Never. I never even been to Dallas. So one of my high school teachers, Miss Webb, love you to death. She did a lot for me. So she like drove me to my because my mom didn't have a reliable car to drive me to Dallas. She drove me and my best friend to our college orientation. Stayed all weekend with us.
What?
Yeah, like encouraged
Wow.
us to become more. So teachers, thank you for everything you do because teachers are amazing. Like
There's some
They don't
teachers.
get enough credit.
no, they don't. They
no,
really
they
don't.
But there's some teachers that really can change someone's life.
Yeah. I
No,
for
and
sure.
amazing. So, you know, I knew that I wanted more for my life. I knew I wanted to go to college. And again, I started working in high school. As soon as I was able to get a job, I got a job.
What
and
did
What
you
was
do?
it?
I was at a clothing store because, again, I was always into fashion. I always shopped thrift stores. I wanted to dress cool and be cool. So I was always so fun and different. And yeah, so I started working at Rue 21 and I literally went to school all day. And then as soon as I got off school, I went straight to work and I worked all night. And then I would like get dinner for my mom and our family like after. And I like fed the family. I was like already taking care of my family when I was 16. you
Now,
know?
real quick, your real dad. Do
Yeah.
you know anything about him?
He texts me even now. He came into my life probably when I was 13. So when I found out that Britt wasn't my
Yeah.
dad, that's when I started asking my mom, well, who is my dad?
Yeah.
Well, it was like, so like it all kind of worked out and he contacted her and said, hey, I think I have a daughter with you. And my mom's like, actually, yeah, she's 13. And so he said, can I meet her? And of course I was like, yeah, I want to meet
So
her.
he
So
didn't know.
He
didn't
knew.
know. Oh,
He knew when she was pregnant. He left. They were
okay.
young. My
Oh.
mom was 19 when she had me, so
Okay.
she was very young, and so I did meet him once briefly, and I thought this was going to be a good experience for me. But he is who he is, and he left again. And then when after I had been married to Justin, I was doing like a pageant And I don't know, just one day I was like working and I was like, I just want to know who my real dad is. I want to see what he looks like. I want to know what he does. I just want to know. And I found him. I don't know how I found him. I was looking up phone numbers and it was crazy. And I had my mom call and she did. And we found him. So I just wanted to have this relationship, which I really clicked with him because we have a lot of the same personality. It's very interesting. And I look just like him.
You do?
Just like my dad. My mom's blonde hair, green eyed. I'm brown and brown. And I literally look like my father, like everything about him. And we met and started talking. And again, he was true to his character. He just is not a good person. He's very selfish. And again, like recently he messaged me. It's funny because he was telling me that I look like his mom, which I do. And he wants to send me all these things, but all he does is talk about himself. And I'm like, dude, you haven't been in my life my whole life, and all you want to do is talk about yourself. You don't want to ask how I am or how I'm doing. So I just have no desire.
Yeah.
It's interesting to know he's alive and what he looks like and things like that, but I don't want a relationship with him. You know, my mom, she raised me. I am who I am because of her, you know?
Right.
And so it's interesting to know where he is and like all those things, but I
Right.
just don't want that relationship.
Yeah.
But I also find it amazing that you make no excuses for any, like you didn't pick a bad way of life. Like, because a lot of people would take a father leaving and make a lot of excuses for themselves. Like, well, nobody wanted me, that whole kind of thing that you hear a lot. Like, when my dad left, so now I do a bunch of drugs, or my dad left, so now
Well, I
I'm
mean,
just
my
this way.
mom, like after
Yeah.
alcoholism, then she went to drugs. Like I've seen it all. I've done it all. I've had a very hard life. Like
Yeah.
nothing was given to me. I've had to like get everything on my own. And of course I could use all those excuses.
Of course, yeah.
I've even lost my mother. I could use those, but I think it has defined me of who I am and it made me better because I do have siblings who have used all those things for the reason their life is the way it is. And
Mhm.
it pisses me off.
Right.
Because I'm like, you are who you are. You're in control of your own life. No one is in control of your life. It doesn't matter what situation you went in. I think you can be whatever you want to be.
Right. And
Yeah.
you're so positive all the time. That's what, like, you're
Yeah.
always happy.
I think I had to like mentally put myself in that situation. I had to be positive
Right.
because again, I had no choice.
Right.
Like if I sat there and dwelled on it and like, woe is me, but
Doesn't
instead
do
I just
anything.
made the most of it. I just like, I lived this fairy tale life in my head. I knew, like
You
I was a
always knew.
cheerleader and I
Mhm.
dated the high school quarterback and I was a homecoming queen and I did all these things that I wanted to do and I got out of that small town because I did not want to live that life and I
Yeah.
will never go back to that. I will never. It's so weird. One of the simplest things that I'm so grateful for is having a full tank of gas. I know I said that, but like I will like and not ever having to stress about money in my bank account because my
Right.
mom did, all the
And
time.
$5 every
Even-
morning.
$5 in
Mhm.
gas. That's how we got around. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And yet, I mean, I know you said we've met each other and stuff, but this is like really the first time I think like really getting to know you, and you're such a humble person,
Mhm.
for going through all that, and then having what you have. It's like you're a very just down to earth person. So
Yeah, it makes
thank
you
for that.
appreciate, everything and like appreciate your work and I love taking care of people. Now, like a lot of people in my life, I love to take care of them because it's just something because a lot of people took care of me. So I'm just like returning the
Very
favor.
giving.
Yeah. Yeah.
So go back to college.
Yeah.
So you're going to college
Mhm.
and
Yeah, so UNT, I went in fashion merchandising. They have a great school there. I always knew that I wanted. At
Mhm.
first, initially, I was going to do design, but it's too much for me. So then I went fashion merchandising. One of the best 4 years of my life because I was, I guess, sheltered in Texarkana. There's not much. It wasn't like the big city. So just like making new friends and like experiencing myself and coming into my own. And again, the guy I was dating, he got drafted by the Boston Red Sox.
oh, wow.
Right out of high school, $1 million signing bonus.
Oh,
Big
wow.
deal, right? So like he goes off and then I go off and we're trying to build this relationship. He's my first like heartbreak. He broke up with me in my sophomore year. But again, through college, I worked the entire time. I worked at Rue 21 and then I got a promotion to be the manager, the store manager. But again, I worked my ass off. I took classes all day, then I worked until 10 p.m. and then I did that like for years. Just working just to survive,
It's like a normal thing for you too.
Yeah, it was a normal thing. And it
Mhm.
wasn't any. Yeah, I was like, I just know I have to work. That's just my mentality.
Yeah.
But again, I knew I didn't want to work for anyone after that. I'm like, oh, I can't do this anymore. But yeah, I graduated from college 2012. And the year that I was graduating, I was moving to LA because I knew that's where you go, right? Like if you want to be in fashion, you want to do modeling, all those things. I was like, I'm going to LA. I already had like it all set up. And that summer, again, summers for lovin', I was actually living with a guy because I didn't have because I was leaving after I graduated that summer in May. I was like, I'm going straight to LA. So I was living with a guy, but I was dating around. And that's when I went on a date with my husband. And I went on a date with Justin, in 2012. And I told him, I go, hey, just letting you know, like when I graduate, my goal, I didn't have a job or anything in LA. I was just going to go and figure it out. And I was like, I'm moving to LA like in literally like 2 months. He's like, okay. And obviously that didn't happen, but I had big dreams for myself, Always had big dreams, y'all. I didn't know how it was going to happen. I was just going to make it happen.
But it happened.
Yeah.
It did happen. You didn't have to leave
I mean,
to
you
make
put it out there in
happen.
the universe, and
Yeah.
you ask for it, and it gives it to you.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, exactly.
plus all the work.
Yeah, there was some work in there too, for sure.
So tell us a little more. So you were in college and your mom, and how was the relationship? How was she doing?
Okay, so that was a really hard time in my life too. It's funny. That's a great question. It makes me kind of think back. Like that's when my mom was really having a hard time because she didn't have me. And then so let's reflect back a little bit more. My senior year, junior and senior year of high school, my mom actually went to rehab for alcohol. And so a family friend in my high school, not even my family, a friend took me in and let me live with them. Again, a lot of people have helped me in my life. I'm so grateful for that. I lived with them. They paid for everything. I remember I tried out for cheerleading my junior year and I made it, and my mom couldn't afford it, so they wouldn't let me on the squad. Well, the next year to try out for cheerleading, they still made me pay the hundreds of dollars in order to even try out. Well, the family
From
that
the
I was
previous year?
from the previous year, and I didn't even get to be a
Wow.
cheerleader.
What?
I know, it's insane. It was so embarrassing, right? Because my mom couldn't afford it. It broke my heart. So they paid for me to try out, and I didn't make it. It broke that even broke my heart even more because I'm like, these people are helping me. But I think it was just, small town political. They're probably like, well, she can't afford it. This is what she gets. Like, I just know that's probably how they were.
Yeah.
So I lived with them my whole junior year while my mom was in rehab. So I didn't have I would talk to her, go visit her, everything else. It never changed my outlook on her. I just thought that was just what she was going through in the time.
Mm-hmm.
So when she got out, I moved with her my senior year, and we were, it's so funny because I just kind of block all that memory just in and out of homes. Like we never really had a stable place to live. And I'll never forget like being in church and the church group one night, the van would pick me up and take me home with my brothers. And one night they were like, hey, we have something for you. And I guess like everyone had bought groceries.
Your
And-
senior year.
Yeah. And they just filled our home with groceries, and something that like minimal meant so much to me. I was like, wow, these people really care, So it was a hard life. But again, it never fazed me. I just kept going. I'm like, here I am. So in college, I was going to go back to that. That's when my mom got on drugs, and she had a lot of heart health issues. She wasn't overweight. She was tiny, but she was doing meth. And of course, that's not good for you. And so she had to go to open heart surgery.
No.
Yeah, so I'm living in college, working full time, going to school, and she was going through it. And she's my best friend. I talk to her every day. So like having to drive 3.5 hours to Texarkana, I was going back and forth, like still trying to do school, still trying to help my mom. She's going through open heart surgery. So I'm like, oh my God, she's not going to make it, all these things. And it was just crazy, like thinking about that. But she made it through the first surgery, and then she just had a lot of health issues after that.
So was it like did she have a heart attack or was
Yeah,
it?
so probably several, and just kept
Oh.
like working and living. Like drugs take a lot of
Yeah.
toll on your body, and I think just like genetically, she probably had some heart health issues. So yeah, open 5 bypass. My mom's
How old
tiny.
is she at this point?
So she's maybe, I'm in college, so she's probably like 40.
Yeah.
Like not even, you know what I mean?
So bypasses, for those of you who don't know, that's like a clogged artery.
Clogged arteries.
Clogged artery.
Open heart surgery at like
40.
40, probably.
My,
right?
my dad had that surgery at like 70.
Yeah.
See, and that's
Yeah.
right. That's what you normally hear. But she's so young, and when you would look at her, you would think that she's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And she was so tough. But again, she had a rough life too. I know it doesn't justify it, but things come to people.
I was
and-
going to ask you about her mom.
Oh,
Was
so she grew up in a family of like 8. They were very, very poor. They lived in a separate home from their parents, and she was the baby. So she was
She was the
basically raised
youngest.
by
Wow.
her family.
Brothers
And
or her
think about it.
siblings.
If they didn't care, they didn't care. So she just had to figure it out on her own.
They
So
did it because
she-
they had to. And there
Yeah.
wasn't much like.
And she was set up in a great life with Britt, and then that went downhill. So nothing else, and in a small town, it's very easy.
Yeah.
And she's always had that addictive personality, I guess. So it just went from one extreme to the other. And so yeah, that just
How
she
hard
had.
on you guys, though.
Yeah, it was a hard life. But
Mhm.
again, there was some happiness in there. Like
course.
again, I had a lot of good people in my life to support me, and my mom still, even through all that, was my best friend.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Did you ever get mad at her?
All the time.
Yeah, because I only asked that because I would scream at my dad for not taking care of his health.
God,
I was like, what the
all
fuck are
the
you doing?
time. And I think I was a little naive in some aspects because you don't want to say, I know you're addicted to drugs, or I know you're
Right.
on drugs, because that's like your mom.
Mhm.
But I had those tough conversations with her, and she was honest with me. I knew
Yeah.
it was a problem.
Yeah.
And I think she was encouraged by the wrong people too. So when you're kind of stuck in that world, you are. And then she didn't have me there. So there were times like I would call her and I couldn't get in touch with her.
It'll freak you out.
Oh, yeah. And then I would have people I know go, and the electricity would be off at the house, at the trailer. So she was like really going through it,
Like your dad.
Exactly.
Like
Like
Oh
my
my
dad.
God.
Yeah.
Like my dad. Yeah.
And they are who they are. I think as I got older, I can't control her.
No.
I can't control anything in my life but me. And I think that's I took it as it was. And so yeah, that was college. It was a crazy experience, and she got better. She found a good person and she got better, but I do think she still battled with addiction in all sorts of way. And I think
It's a
then
tough battle to fight.
tough.
Mhm.
Tough battle.
Then she got on pills, right? Because she had her open heart
Pharmaceutical
surgery.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a whole nother journey. I mean, I'm very passionate about that and how, the
Same.
system
I-
screws you.
Tell us
completely
about
feel
that,
for
because
that.
we're very
The
with
system
that.
screws you. She already had an addictive personality. And so when my mom passed and I went to her room, y'all should see how many pills were beside her bed. And I had no idea. Like literally 50 pills.
50
She could
different bottles.
different bottles.
Mm.
You name it, she had it. She could just call the doctor and be like, "Hey, this, and he would prescribe her something. Like
Mhm.
that's how accessible it
I mean,
is.
It's a business. It's
Yeah.
a business, and there's no money in wellness, and there's no money in dead people, so they keep you sick so
Yeah.
you can
100%.
continue.
And I think that's why my mom passed from a heart attack, and I genuinely think it's because she had too much in her system.
Mhm.
She should not have been prescribed that many pills. I genuinely think it was a system. Again, it was her too. It was her choices, but the system freaking fails you, and I can't stand it. I can't stand pharmaceuticals.
I just
100%.
literally
Still to this day, I don't take prescription medicine. I'm so against it.
I don't even like
Same.
to take Tylenol.
No. Yeah.
All of us
Feel
feel the
you.
exact same way. It's amazing.
So I
Mm.
just recently have seen that I think even here in this country, it's going more towards the other way, or people are trying to. And I told Marcella, I have a book somewhere. I'm going to find
Yeah.
it. My grandfather in Austria had a doctor. His name is Dr. Kneip. I never forget it. It's this huge book. It's all about healthy, like
it's a homeopathic. How
it's
you
like
can heal
homeopathic. You can
anything.
heal anything.
anything.
Yeah. I
Through-
mean,
So-
anything in this earth
Yes.
that
That's what
gives
God
you
made us.
wrong,
Yes.
there's something to
Agree.
Right.
go against it. you
So
know?
then through all that research, I found out with that whole Rothschilds thing that
Oh, yeah.
they figured out that you can make pills through petroleum,
Mhm.
Mm.
and that all that medication will get you addicted and hooked on it. And at the same time, they brought a manufacturing plant in Germany, and then started to call all the health people, homeopathy and all those people, charlatans and
Witches.
and all that stuff.
Unbelievable.
However, until then, it was
It's normal.
normal and great. And
I mean, it's
what happens is people don't know. They think doctors do it, and they come in the colleges and they pay them
yes,
if you use
the
medication. It's
pharmaceuticals go in
unbelievable.
and buy the
Yeah,
books
It's
and pay for
unbelievable.
them. And I've always said, you only know what you've been taught. Even the doctors, they
They-
go to this school, they
And
pay
your
all
mom,
this
she
money to
didn't
learn.
know.
She
She
didn't
went
know
to
any better.
doctors and they give her
And
that, and she
it's
thinks it's gonna be good
highly
for her.
addictive. Like
Yes.
so she had a bad back, and like
Hydrocodone.
hydrocodone.
Mhm.
I mean, my mom was taking like 6, 7
Wow.
hydrocodone a day.
Yeah.
You guys,
Wow.
like that is not healthy. That is not normal,
No.
and she knew it was a problem.
Not only
But
that,
again-
it fucks up your liver,
Yes.
all your insides.
When you do your research
and-
now, like watching all these documentaries, it's just insane. It
So
is
did
insane
you
what they do to people.
No, your mom was taking anything at all?
Yes, I knew.
like
Yeah.
like leading up to when you lost her.
Yeah, absolutely. I knew. She even knew that she was battling all these things like
Okay.
hydrocodone, and she was battling all these addictions.
Once
right?
you come to a certain point, it's
Mhm.
like, I mean, like you said, she probably had, she had a heart issues, so she had surgeries, she probably had pain.
Mm.
So she took these for pain, but
Mhm.
then after a while, it takes over you.
Yep.
And
Yeah, and she lived a really hard life. I swear she had like 9 lives, but I'm like, at the end it was very bad. So in a sense, I'm so grateful that she's out of that world,
Yeah.
Makes me sad, but I'm happy that she's
Healed.
yeah.
Jolie's best friend told me last night that, because I asked her, I said, "Are you feeling any kind of relief?" Because my mom was very sick, and it doesn't
Yeah.
really matter if it's cancer, if it's that, it doesn't matter. And I said, "Do you feel any kind of sort of relief that your mom's healed?" And she said, "It's the hardest thing to say out loud, but yes, I do."
Yeah. It is because you're sad they're gone, but
Right.
I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
see it going any other way. Like it wasn't going to get any better. And
Right.
like you always ask yourself like, was there something more I could do? Because there were days where I'm like, I just want to move her to Dallas, like let me take care of her, but again, you only have control of your own life.
Yeah.
In my situation. So,
Would she have come? You
I
think?
don't know, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't think she would have been happy.
Right.
Because again, I'm very bossy. It's my personality. I like to tell people what to do. So I think I did that a lot with her. I felt like I was telling her what to do all the time. I was like the mother. And so I don't think she would have been happy. So just like letting her live her life. And again, it was such how it happened. And it's so full circle. But the night I met Marcella the very first time was the night my mom passed.
Mhm.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, it was
You didn't know that?
Halloween.
I think maybe you told me that, but
Yeah.
that's
Forgot.
really
It's
crazy.
crazy. It was on Halloween, and I swear, like, I'm a big like believer in energy and everything, and I was having a great night. And Marcel was there. It was the first time we met. We're like dancing on the dance floor, having a good time. And Justin was like, "This number keeps calling my phone." And I had some drinks. It was Halloween. I'm like, "Just answer it." He's like, and then he wouldn't. He's like, "No, I'm not answering it." So then I go look at my phone, and there's like hundreds of missed calls. And for some reason, they were calling right then. So I answered it, and then it was the police telling me, "Hi, I just want to let you know your mom, had passed or whatever." And it was just so traumatic for me. Like, just in a, she was only 50. She was so young, and it was so sudden, unexpected. And so, but that night, which is crazy because, like my mom loved the Bee Gees.
Yeah.
And like, why would they be playing the Bee Gees at, Hotel Zaza on a freaking Halloween night? But they were. And when that
No
song
way.
came on, I made my best friend do the dance me and my mom would do. Like,
Well,
made
where
her.
were you at that moment?
I had
don't-
left.
She had already left.
I did not see any of that happen.
I was like, okay.
I was gone, but we had talked about it later.
I was like, by the way, the first time I ever met you was I don't know if you knew this,
Yeah.
but I swear in that moment was when my mom passed. I feel like that was her telling
When
me
the Bee
like,
Gees.
Like,
and they were doing
hey,
her dance.
we were doing the dance me and my mom would do where we would
And
bump
you didn't know
hits.
this was before you found out.
This
Y'all
was
were just
before,
doing
but
the
then I was
dance,
thinking
and
back,
then-
and I'm like, it was the perfect timing. Like, it had to have been when she was passing. Her like telling me like, I'm leaving. You know.
So this was like a few hours before you found out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was a
There's
very
no such thing as
traumatic.
coincidence.
And I'll tell you another thing, like me being, it was just my mom. We don't have family, and I'm just who I am, and I take care of her. So like, at such a young age, and so unexpected, having to like go through like the funeral arrangements and dealing with all that. That's hard for
Of course.
someone to do all on their own.
How did
I
you do
didn't know
that?
anything. My best friend, I'm so
Oh,
grateful for McKenna. I don't even know where I was through this whole experience, but like obviously you have to go up there, and I don't even remember talking to the guy. I was just mad. I was mad. And just being like, I don't care, just do this. And I will say, like, I believe, but I'm not a spiritual person. Like, my mom like went to church and read her Bible. Like, I have her Bible. But again, I think like for me, I didn't want to do a full, like, I don't know, funeral because it makes me sad. I
Yeah.
wanted it to be more just
Celebration of
like,
life.
yeah. But then the whole family who wasn't involved in our life wanted to be involved at that time and judge me for what I was doing. I'm like, well, are you paying for it? Are you like, let me just live my life. It was my mom. And they were upset that I cremated her. But I wanted to have my mom with me. So that was my choice. And so, and I know it's a selfish choice, but it's my mom. That's all I had.
That's selfish.
No, not at all.
But they're like, why are you cremating her? And I'm like, because that's my choice. That's what I want to do. I want to have her with me.
All the time.
And so I did. But that's a hard thing to go through when it's so unexpected and you don't know what the right choice is, and you think about it. You're like, so it was a really hard time.
I really feel you on that.
Yeah. I heard you kind of
Going
had a
through something
same.
similar.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you went to her house and then you saw all the medication, were you stunned at how much?
Yeah, I was stunned and I was pissed off
Yeah.
because it's unbelievable that she could have all that, like
And was it all the same doctor? Because sometimes they
Probably.
can go to different
it's
people.
such a small town.
That's
They're
true.
all like, they don't even know. They don't even care. They just,
They're making money.
yeah.
It's insurance.
Yeah.
That's true.
Same
And
with
then-
your dad.
Oh my gosh. But the same thing, like my dad was so, that's why I was asking, do you think your mom would have been happy here? Because my dad,
Mm-mm.
we could not save him from his damn self.
That's what
I
I'm
was
saying.
like, Dad, if you would go here, this will help your life.
He's like, hell no.
Nah, I got it. I'm like, you don't got it. You don't have it at all. But
Mm-mm.
he was addicted to Xanax and
Valium.
Valium. And so it's kind of the same
Mm-hmm.
thing. And you can't, and diabetic and wouldn't help himself in that aspect. So you can't really
eat a whole cake.
you can't really help them, like, because they're at an age, they're going to just do what they want
Mhm.
to do.
Absolutely.
And so you want to help. And then I know that you talked to a medium, right?
Yeah.
And that was really awesome for you, right?
It was. So,
First of
about
all,
that.
how
Talk about
long
that,
ago
yeah.
did your mom pass away?
so it's only been 2 years. So this was a 2-year anniversary in October.
How about you, Cruz?
Which feels like yesterday.
How long
It's
was
been like almost 4.
Mm-hmm.
And just
Wow.
like how you said, it still hits you hard. And
Yeah.
I think like death for people. And again, I have my good days and I have my bad, because it's just normal, right? Like you think you're fine, and just randomly,
And then all
it's
of a
hard.
sudden something happens. and
Yeah.
it just-
I
Yeah.
just one of the best gifts I've ever gotten was they burned these DVDs. I told you we had a good life when my mom was first married to Britt. And so I have all these videos of my mom and me and like us growing up and all these good memories. So I was just recently watching them.
I love
And
I
it just
saw when
made
you
me
posted it.
so happy like to have that, like, and I did have a moment where I bawled and cried and all the things, but I was like, I'm happy I have this. It's good to have those memories because what a blessing, And so something like, it was very traumatic for me to lose her. And because she was my best friend, I talked to her every day. And so I had my moments where I just feel like I needed something more. I was like, what am I missing? Like I would dream about her and all these things. Ooh. And so I something kept telling me to research medians. And I'm all for anything. I'll try it all. And so this one in Dallas, I forget her name, but she's like the top one in Dallas. I was like, well, it doesn't hurt to try. And it was my mom's birthday. So my mom's birthday is around Mother's Day. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it for her birthday and just see. And it was so eye-opening, and it literally made me feel so much better. I had so much closure just from talking to a median. So I know some people are totally against it, but my experience was so authentic. The things that the median said and did, there's no way she would have known these things. Like, she had my mom's personality.
Tell us about it.
So the first thing before we were doing it, I had my mom's Bible, and she had like scribbled notes and stuff. And I'll never forget, in big writing, she wrote grace, because my mom was like a scribbler. She would do like all these things. And so I was just looking through her notes and looking up the scriptures and things before I do. It was a Zoom median.
Oh.
Because of COVID, which I'm like, is this going to work? I'm like, whatever, I'll just try it. So we get on, and she goes, well, the way I work, they send me messages and da-da-da-da-da. And like, I didn't tell her it was my mom. She like kind of went on her own. Then finally she
Like
said,
the less info you give
the
her,
less
the more
is the
you
best. Because
feel,
I was
yeah.
skeptical. I wasn't going to give her
Exactly.
anything. Right. So she's like, then she somehow figures out it's a motherly figure. And I go, okay, you're right. It's my mom. She goes, okay, well, she's doing something right now, real dramatic. She tells me this whole time, she's like, your mom's a firecracker, which she was. She's real spicy. She's got a big personality. She is a lover. She talks a lot. So she's writing like this. And this is how it starts. And she goes, I see the word grace.
But you didn't tell her anything about it?
I just literally start bawling, because are you freaking kidding me? On the paper, you guys, is the word grace. I just start bawling. I have chills thinking about it. I'm like, how the fuck does she know this? Like, this is crazy. So that's how it started. And then just like her spicy little, she's like, your mom said you need to stop crying. And that's what she would tell me. Quit crying. Like, this is a good thing, And at the end, my husband walked in, and I didn't know he was coming home. And so I guess the lady saw her, and she just starts laughing in the media. And I go, what? And she goes, she doesn't want me to say this, but she is saying your husband is so fine. And that is how my mom would say Justin is so fine. Like, just like, and this median is not talking like that. Like, she's talking, my mom is saying that. And she's like, and she wanted me to tell you, you better treat that boy right, because all he does is take care of you, and all you do is complain. And I literally just started bawling even more, because Justin, when we joke, all he says to me is, all you do is complain. All you do is complain. I'm like, how would this lady know this?
Right.
It was my mom. 100%.
And it made you feel better.
Oh, it just, her like little spicy positive attitude, like, quit crying, everything's fine, like, and just it was great. Like, I'm so happy I did it. And I think, like, if anyone, and there may be good and bad out there, I don't know, but I guess I got the good one, and it worked. So yeah, it was great.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like. And I also think that you have an amazing best friend who has helped you a lot. I think you guys are like support. I mean, she's there for you a lot.
I was just thinking about that. I was like, man, what would I have done? Like, Justin would have been there for me with my mom, like, but he didn't have to be, really, because McKenna just took over. She just did everything. She's like, we're going to get through this together. She's always been my support,
Yeah.
So I'm so grateful to have her too. And yeah, that was a blessing for sure. She's been through me through everything.
I can tell.
My whole life,
I know.
And
Yeah.
how long have you guys known each other?
19 years.
Wow.
Best friends since
Wow.
19.
I
for
just
19
met
years.
her.
She is
so
crazy, isn't she?
funny.
She is so funny.
That's really special, because I feel
Mhm.
that at least female relationships,
Yeah.
like that's very rare.
And we've been through it.
Very
We
rare.
haven't had the perfect relationship, her and I have, but again, our family, there's been some issues through there, but no matter what, nothing like stopped us from being there for each other, like best friends, like 100%. So again, I'm so grateful I have her.
Yeah, I can tell. That's pretty amazing.
What's your mom's name?
Linda.
We learned all about
Linda. Hey,
Listen,
listen,
Linda.
she went
Listen,
through it, but
Linda.
she was a good person. Everyone who met my mom, she just hugs you. She's a lover. She's a sweet soul. She just cares about people. And that was the good thing.
I have a feeling you're like your mom.
I am 100%. Like, even looking back, like, she was so lovable and like made me love people. And I think that's how I am. I'm just I just love people. Just like I'm a happy, positive. Again, she had a rough life, but she was always positive.
So, Hope and I became friends. We met in Turks, and then so I'll tell everybody when we were about to go, I was like, oh my gosh, like I looked at her Instagram and I was like, oh, is she going to be nice? Like, I have no idea. All nervous. And then I meet her and it was an immediate connection. And then our relationship grew so fast. Like, I just connected to her so fast. And then she invited me to I was going to say Halloween, a Christmas party with all of her closest friends. And me and Brittany were having a conversation, and she said, Hope really brought us all together. And I get nervous sometimes with other females because it can be difficult.
Little
And-
catty. Little
Yeah.
catty.
And so I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm going to go because I want to, make better relationships with girls. And I felt I trusted her judgment. I was like, I don't think Hope would be around like bitchy girls. I can't imagine. So I go and we're talking, and they were all talking about how Hope was the reason that they've all come together, that they're all friends, that you bring everybody together, like the same energy.
She's a connector.
She is.
Yeah.
So I think I have
What's
a
your
feeling.
zodiac?
I'm Aquarius. So, yeah, I'm a lover. I'm kind. And
So I would assume your mom was that way.
For sure.
And you're all your mom. So I think that's, and I think when people are struggling with addictions or anything like that, that doesn't define who they are at all. I mean, I always laugh about my dad because I'm like, he was in the mob and a liar and he was addicted to things, but he was a great person. Like,
yeah.
inside,
Sometimes
matter
good
what.
people do bad things.
yeah, and they
Yeah,
don't, and
I
they're
agree.
struggling with whatever their circumstances were. So I never feel that it makes them any different of a human, because obviously you're the way you are has to be from her.
I think so, 100%. I
So-
take just like my character for
Yeah.
sure from my mom.
Yeah, so I think that's really amazing. So we
Yeah.
can all see your mom through you.
I love that.
Yeah,
For
I-
sure. I do too.
I love
It's
that.
a good thing.
My
Yeah,
mom-
sorry.
That was deep.
It is like,
was
it's
deep.
funny because Marcella said, sometimes when we talk about these things, it's therapeutic. And it is, because like you're like, I don't know if I want to talk about myself, but then it feels good to just get it out.
Get it out.
Mm.
But I like what she said. It's like you also give them almost a platform. Like,
Yeah.
so that they're
Yeah.
not forgotten and you talk about them like
Laura.
Cruz did with Laura. And I mean,
It really helped me like so much. Like
Mhm.
you don't even know. And I know I say it, but like, I mean, actually, that was the first time that I've ever really like spoke about it, and it makes it now easier to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is good, right? Like
Yeah.
it, yeah. And
Yeah,
then you forget
definitely.
some things. When you get asked a question, you're like, wait, let me remember that. And it's good to remember,
Yes.
whether
and
it's good or bad. It's good to
Good to-
have
yeah.
that.
I think, what do we talk about? We've lost, unfortunately, a lot of people. And I think, like with Keith, like people, I think his mom, I don't think they want you to ever forget their son or like your mom or my dad. It's like you don't want anyone to forget about them. And
that's
so,
what you're told the most. They always say, ask about them, ask about
Yeah.
their name, ask about who they were.
Say their name.
Say
their
their
name.
name. Don't be
Yeah.
afraid to ask questions, because that's the worst is if you forget about
Yeah.
the important person in your life.
Because you
Mhm.
never want to forget.
Mm-mm.
My mom was my biggest cheerleader. It's crazy. She was like my biggest fan. She supported everything I did, so
Yeah.
it's good.
That's hard.
Mm-hmm.
but we support you.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's so amazing to like find, it's never too late to find
Mhm.
good friends.
Right.
That's what I tell people. I'm so
Never.
blessed to have Marcel in my life because just this year, that's when we became
Uh-huh.
close and we just
Really
connected.
so fast.
like soulfully connected. Like
I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
I'm so blessed to have Marcella in my
there's
life.
something about her.
I
I
hear
don't
that
know what
a
it
lot.
is. Like I'm like,
Well, I
thank
think
goodness.
that's you're a blessing for each other. It
Yeah.
makes me happy because
You are a
You
blessing,
want-
Marcella.
you want
I'm
you know
crying.
everybody to have really special friends. That's the most
Yes,
important thing.
absolutely.
Well, because you can't find people that are genuinely happy for other people
Mm-mm.
or that aren't sometimes related. Because I've even said that, like, obviously my mom, but then my dad. I mean, I could do no wrong. Like, I was like, oh, but no man is ever going to love me like my dad. Like, I've thought that before because they're your family. So you're like, well, you have to love me like this. 'Cause I'm your daughter or whatever. But then you find people, it's nice, especially for women. I feel it's nice to find people who actually care and want to see you succeed and aren't like, oh, yeah, that's great. And then talking shit behind your back. Or they really are
Yeah.
envious of if you have something wonderful. And I truly feel so proud of my friends. And like, I'm not joking. I'm like, that's my friend. Oh my God, that's so crazy. Like, I feel that inside my soul. So it's nice when you feel the same connection with other people.
It's hard to find later in life for sure.
Yes, because women are mean.
Mm-hmm.
Caddy.
They are.
I always feel that God just brings the right people in your life, and sometimes you hold on to people that are not that great, and then there's no room. Like God is kind of going, okay, make room. I have someone, and when you do that, and then it's really special connections. Like I have those in my life, and it's something. And your group of friends, they remind me of all my friends. She says,
Yeah.
it's like so sweet. So